What's up, War Rapport family? We are back with another great edition of Building Rapport. Joining us today, we have a very special guest, former Auburn basketball player from the early 2000s, Marquis Daniels, joins us. Marquis, how's it going, man?
I'm doing good, man. Blessed. I can't complain. How you doing?
I want to get this kicked off talking a little bit about the days of yore. Now, we all went to school together. Myself, you, Ike, we were all in school in the early 2000s when basketball was not a thing, right? I want to talk a little bit about your recruiting process and why you decided to choose Auburn basketball for your college athletic journey.
Man, to be honest with you, I really didn't even know where Auburn was at when I first came on my visit. When I got here, I was like, yo, where am I? And it was like, you're in Alabama. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I was in prep school at Mount Zion in North Carolina. And so I came down on a visit. And, just growing up where I was from, we didn't, I knew a couple people that played basketball, but I didn't know somebody that actually was in college. I just saw the Kentuckys, the dude, the Carolina. That's what I saw on TV. And so when I got here, I was like, yo, where am I? And so it was just, and Coach Harris, I don't know if you remember Coach Eugene Harris. He was recruiting me, him and Charleston Young. They recruited me to come here, and I was playing point guard at Mount Zion at the time. And when I got here, it was like, can you play the 4 or 5? I'm like, what? But again, when I got here, it was a good family environment, so it worked out for the best for me.
All right. So you, sir, have the distinction for me as being again, I was in school there as one of the first people that I went to school with actually got drafted into the NBA. But talk about, I guess, the transition from high school to college and then to the pro game. What were the things that you had to learn quickly? Okay, it's different here at this level. Oh, this is way different at this level. What were the things that you had to adjust to in your game to adjust to college and then to the pro?
My biggest adjustment was probably managing my time better. When you go from high school, you kind of on a schedule, people telling you where to go and this and that. And when you get to college, nobody's really waking you up to make sure you go do what you need to do. And, those 6 a.m. conditioning sessions and, you think you're playing hard and you're playing against some good guys. But when you get here, pretty much everyone can, they're talented to their certain degree and certain level. So just managing my time, man, just making sure we go from practice to study hall. Then you got to try to sneak in some food in there, here and there. And, we went from practice to study hall. We come out of practice, it's dark outside. Then we go straight to study hall. It's like, man, we wake up, class, you right back at it. So you had to manage your time. I hear a lot of people saying yo, when I was in college, I was doing this and that. I'm like, yo, when did you have time to do that? So it's just time management was probably the biggest thing.
Yeah. Sticking with time management, I think it's funny that you say that because my sister was in Isaac's class. So she got to Auburn in 99. And when I got to college, she said, Mike, you can go to Disney World tomorrow and nobody's going to ask you any questions. And that freedom, nobody's looking over my shoulder to make sure I'm here or there. I'm only costing myself if I don't show up. It was a big adjustment for me too as a college student. Is that something that kids today that you're dealing with also have to learn? Or you guys, what kind of structure do you guys put in place to help them with time management?
Those guys are pretty good. I think Coach does a great job of recruiting guys that come from good families. And so they already kind of have those morals and principles to understand that, they have to be ready to, if you want to be a pro, you got to train like a pro, act like a pro, move like a pro, build better habits, whether it's getting up early, coming to the gym, getting early shots before practice, staying late, getting shots, just doing things to better yourself to get where you need to go. And I think guys pretty much do a good job of policing themselves and, staying on top of each other. Like, yo, man, why you not in class today? Why you not doing this? So by the time it gets to the coach, it's not a problem. They kind of make sure that yo, we need you. Why are you not in class? You taking yourself off the court. And I think most young players do a lot of that. They get to the point they get comfortable and they take themselves off the court by not doing stuff in school, their classwork and stuff like that. I can see if the coach, you do something with the coach and he takes you off the court, but don't take yourself off the court by not doing schoolwork.
All right. So so you said time management was a big thing. And I'm sure as you get into the pros, when you actually have money, right? That's a whole different kind of situation. But let's talk about the transition to the NBA and kind of, your first experience as a rookie, Dallas Mavericks. Look, you guys were one of the first small ball teams out there, right? Like y'all were the ones that really were out there playing guys that were 6'7", you know, at the forward positions, you know. So talk to me a little bit about that transition to the league.
For me, it was a smooth transition for me because I came in where I had a lot of veterans. I had Steve Nash, Michael Finley, Dirk Nowitzki, Antoine Walker, Jameson, you know, Travis Best. I had a lot of veterans around me that, you know, kind of gave me the ropes. Like, hey, look, Rudy, do this, do that. And something that always stick with me is Steve Nash telling me, hey, Rook, how good you want to be? And I was like, you know, I want to be good. He was like, well, don't do what everybody else is doing. And, you know, I was like, what you mean? So after a while, I started seeing the way he moves, the way he works, you know, the way Dirk, like, you think you're working hard till you see these guys and you realize why they're all-stars and they're pros and Hall of Fame type players. And like you say, man, the transition can be wicked because, like you say, time management with a lot of money, and it's a recipe for disaster. Because, you know, you have practice for what, maybe a couple of hours, and then you got 7-8 hours of just freedom. You know, like you could be in the clubs, you could be drinking, you could be doing a lot of things, but besides basketball, because you don't have nobody watching over you. Now you got time and a lot of money, and if you don't have the right people around you, it's going to be hard. Like a lot of people, they need a no man. Like, you know how people got a yes man, they need a no man. Like, because they're going to come to you and be like, hey man, you know, Mike, let me get this, get that. And if you say no, oh man, he don't sell out, he did that. So I had my brother. Like, y'all gonna talk to my brother, and he'd be like, nah. So by the time he get to me, he'd be like, what happened? Like, I probably know, but you know, it's on him. He's
At
like,
that buffer
we're
zone.
not doing it.
Yeah,
exactly.
for sure.
So you just need somebody to memorize it out.
Let me ask you about, because we're talking about having a no man, which takes me into the attention that a lot of these athletes are suddenly getting once they get to the college level. So now everybody's telling you you're the greatest. You're the big man on campus. I mean, you're on national television, and it's a little different for these kids now because all their games are technically nationally televised, right? So more kids are household names than when you were in school. Like, what kind of things do you guys do to help them manage essentially their level of fame that they come into, and how do you help keep those kids grounded and not let it go to their heads?
With me, that's part of what I do here, like with being player development. And I think the biggest thing is, man, that's social media. It's
different.
that phone, and just like these dudes be having highlights of they play before the game's over. It's like, dude, who watching the game to send you a clip of you making a lay? Like, and you know, they be dealing with, it's like, oh man, they saying this and saying that. Like, you do know you'll never see them. Like, why you worrying about what people are saying?
Right.
So I think the biggest thing I try to tell all of them is, man, just be consistent. Make it be about the ball. Just make it be about the basketball. And I think, you know, if you respect that basketball, it'll take you a long way. Take you a lot of places in this world.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that because, I mean, before you left, I mean, Facebook wasn't even a thing before you left Auburn. It started in 2004, I think.
Exactly. Man, what was it?
It was College Club when we were there.
Yeah, College Club.
Yeah,
MySpace.
MySpace and Black Planet. Yeah. They got so many. Instagram, TikTok. I keep up with it because I got kids, so I have to like try to keep up with what they're doing. But other than that, man, they be showing me all kinds of stuff. I'm like, yo, what is that? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, that access to these kids, man, it can be good or bad because a lot of these kids aren't ready for that type of fame, and people are mean. Like, they don't say some crazy stuff to you, and like just being trolls. And they're kids. They out here putting their hearts into the game. They working hard. If they have one bad game, they're gonna try to tear them down.
Right. Yeah.
And if you got a kid that don't have no support system to help them, that can eat them alive. You know, because they'll feel like, man, you know, I'm letting them down. I'm letting these people down. It's like, yo, you don't even know this person.
Yeah.
But it's good and bad, because, you know, when it's good, you know, that everybody's praising you, but you got to find a way to stay level. Because if you don't, you know, you get too high and get too low, man. And when you get so deep, it's hard to climb out of it.
I want to talk a little bit about the transition that Ike started from college basketball to the pro level. You know, the NBA, probably similarly to the NFL, they put some things in place to help guys transition into all the newfound fame that they have. I know for the NFL Rookie Symposium, they have money management classes. I mean, there's literally a class on groupies, I think, on how to deal with all the women that are suddenly going to be coming at you, right? Is there a version of that maybe that you go through with the athletes that come into Auburn, similar to what you probably went through when you joined the NBA? Like, is there a way that you guys can just educate guys on, man, like, you know, or is it a process, or is it just more of a mentorship is I guess is what I'm asking.
It's more of a mentorship, you know, just sitting down, having these one-on-one conversations with them, you know, just building that relationship, you know, because a lot of times these kids come in, especially as a coach, they look at you like you the police. Like, I can't tell coach something. He gonna say this, do that.
Right.
So you got to separate yourself from being a coach to like being in that, like, look, I've been there. I know what you're going through. And they can relate to it. And it helps me a lot because I've been where they're trying to go. So I can tell them, like, look, man, this is gonna happen. And then they come back to me and be like, man, how you know that? It's like my mom told me, man, the game don't change. It's just new players. That's all it is. It's just new players in the game. And everything you going through right now, I've done it. Probably worse. You know, thank God for Instagram. We'd probably be locked up or something.
Right.
But, you know, y'all just have to be more careful with what y'all doing. But it seems like they want that. They want people to know what they're doing. It's like, yo, stop broadcasting your life on Instagram. Stop telling everybody what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just trying, like you say, just mentoring them, just telling them about, you know, what's good gonna come out of it. And I tell all of them, I say, man, to be honest with you, I kind of feel bad for y'all if you don't already have someone that you're dating or you're dealing with before you start making money.
Yeah.
Because you never know what their intentions are.
Yeah. Everybody wants something from you now suddenly. Right.
Exactly.
It's kind of hanging here for a second about, again, that mentorship that you're talking about and, you know, having those people in your life. Let's hypothetically speaking, a kid messes up in the Auburn basketball program and he posts something on social media that he shouldn't have, or he says something publicly that he shouldn't have. You know, take us through that process about how you guys are coaching kids to say, hey, like, listen, you probably didn't mean to, but you didn't do the right thing here. And here's what we need you to do.
We have a PR team for that, you know, but a lot of times it's just accountability. We try to get ahead of that, you know, coming into the season and talk about, you know, things that you put up on social media when you was younger. Someone's going to go back and try to find it.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to hold it against you. You know, you see it right now with guys in the NBA, NFL. It's like they probably said something in 7th, 8th grade, and somebody's going way back, finding a tweet or whatever the case may be. And then people just take it and be like, oh, this person, he's this, he's that. Like he probably said that as a kid, like jokingly, like not knowing what he was doing. And we try to get ahead of it and just try to get them to understand, you know, what comes with it. And, you know, just holding accountability and not being like, oh, I was this, like, no. So everybody's not joking. And, you know, you're a business now. Whether you want to look at it that way, you're a business and you got to carry yourself as such. And your brand is very important.
I want to talk a little bit about your current role. You've talked about it with player development, just kind of what that day-to-day looks like. And then how has the landscape of what is name, image, and likeness changed the landscape of what your role is with the team?
Okay, well, I'll start off with my player development role. It's just basically like I tell all the guys, you know, basketball is going to take care of itself. What you do on the court, take care of itself. I'm more concerned with how's your mom doing? How's your dad doing? You know, because a lot of times, you know, as a coach, he's focused on the game and winning. And it's not that he doesn't care about what the kid has going on, but he has 15 other people on his team. So I have to come in, you know, hey, man, you talked to your mom today? Did you call home? You know, and a lot of times they get so lost in basketball and there may be a player on this team that he may be struggling with depression, anxiety, and you would never know because he's trying to hide it and mask it. So you have to be someone that they can come and talk to. Just, man, they may be having girl problems, anything, like social media issues. You just have to be there and have those open conversations with them and not talk basketball all the time. Just talk about life. Just, hey, man, how's school going? You know, how your little girlfriend doing? You know, you got to just be open with them because a lot of times they don't really have nobody that talks to them about that because every time most people talk to them, it's about sports.
Right.
And, you know, you always have to be a certain person all the time. Like, you can't have a bad day. Like, you're human too. But if you do, somebody may be like, oh, man, he an a-hole. He this and that. It's like, man, my best friend just got killed or something. But you can't, you know, you just have to try to, you know, if you put yourself in a situation, you got to be that type of person all the time. So, like, you know, you have a kid that got a lot of energy. If he come in, he don't have the energy. It's like, yo, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Like, I ain't nothing. Nah, bro, you you set that tone. Like something's wrong. So it's a gift and a curse. You gotta either be that way all the time or don't. And so, just being that like a big brother type. When things going wrong, they come out the game. A lot of times, coach ain't gonna be happy with you. Come down here and sit down with me. I'm gonna joke with you. I'm like, hey man, what's wrong with you, man? Like, why you tripping?
Yeah.
Right.
Just try to lighten the load on them because, like I say, man, they put a lot of pressure on themselves with, you never know if they got issues at home. They gotta try. They feel pressure to make their every shot they take, or I gotta make it to take care of family. This and that. It's a lot of things that these kids go through that you got to try to manage it and help them to, like I say earlier, keep it about the ball.
Kind of sticking here for a second. When you're talking about, essentially the humanization of these athletes, I feel like you guys, as athletes and high profile figures become dehumanized. You become just a player, a guy who scores, a guy who won the game or blew the game. Right. Mm-hmm. And then you're having to work behind the scenes to make sure that they still feel like I'm a person with the feelings, right, and I'm allowed to go through things. Right. And they're going to help me manage that. For us on the football side, it was Brother Chet is who we used to go talk. Yeah. Right. Do you guys have a basketball chaplain, or do you guys share one with the football team?
Brother Chet's still over there with the football team, and we have Jeremy Napier. He's our team basketball chaplain now. Okay. And even still with the chaplain, like a lot of guys wouldn't want to go talk to him just because it's like, man, he's such and such. But at the end of the day, you still need an outlet. I don't care if it's me, the chaplain, or whatever. You need someone that you can go talk to that's not going to judge you, and it's not always in agreement with the coach. So it's like the guy may recruit you to come in, but at the end of the day, he's still a coach. And you could be like, man, I'm really going through this. I feel like coach ain't doing this. So you can't tell him that. You can, but you can't. You rather talk to someone that's not biased, that don't have no dog in the fight, he just care about you as a person and wants you to win in life.
The second part of Ike's question about NIL is something that we definitely want to dig into, about how NIL has changed the landscape. Now, Marquis, I'm going to keep it real with you. When we were in college, we were broke.
Dead broke.
I was broke, right? Ike was broke. You were broke. I was broke. Everybody I knew was broke. These kids today ain't broke. I seen these social media. A car was like a privilege. It was like, oh man, he got a car. If you weren't riding the Tiger Transit, you went at Auburn for real.
Yeah, I was walking.
Yeah, right. They're not. That's not what these kids are living right now. Like, what has that? What kind of dynamic has that added to the job that you guys have to do managing these kids? When essentially, not only do they have to manage their time, but when they're bored, they have more money to do foolishness with their free time than we did. Like being broke kept me in the house. Right. That's not a problem. Some of these kids talk about that.
Man, as a former player in college, it's a good problem. I'm glad to see them, being paid for what they're doing, and but it's not a big problem with our guys because, like I said, we got a bunch of guys that come from good families, and I think the biggest thing is just the money management, just making sure they manage their money better, because for some reason they don't like free. They rather spend their money. Like, they can have something free. It's like, nah, I want to go get this. Like, why? Because it costs.
Right, like food. Yeah, like food is free essentially if you're an athlete at Auburn.
It's just just being young, and it's hard to tell them not to do something that you did. So it's like, man, I can't tell you not to do it, but I can tell you why you shouldn't. And I think with them getting money, I think, like I said, we don't have a problem with these guys with as far as being reckless and just going out here and doing this and doing that, because Auburn's still Auburn. It's still a family environment here. It's still close-knit. Guys still hang out with each other. They all do a pretty good job of, keeping each other in line. And, like you say, everybody got cars now. It's a good thing. But it's the scooters. They ride scooters everywhere around here now. Mm-hmm. Everybody got the scooters. Like you say, we had to walk to class. Man, they got them scooter things go out 30 miles an hour. Like they got the scooters. It's safe. I like it because, like I say, we used to have to walk from the library all the way back to the Coliseum. God. Like that's a long walk.
Yeah, that walk from the business school to the hill was terrible.
And you had about 2 minutes to get there. Like, so it was rough, man. Like, it's great. It's great for these guys to have the stuff. Like, even with, I can remember You remember where the McDonald's and the Wendy's was?
Yeah, right
Uh-huh.
there.
And
Yep. Mhm.
I used to like be like trying to debate. Should I go get this 2 for $2 or go to practice?
Yeah.
And so now
Right.
it's like we got the wellness kitchen here for them that they can go get food at any time. Like it's great for them because we stayed in Sewell Hall. I don't know if y'all been in there.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I remember so.
Man, they got marble tops in their rooms now. Like they got their own room, washer and dryer. Like
Yeah.
I'm happy for them, man. Like, downstairs at Donahue, man, it's like a little Dave and Buster's in there. Like it's great for them. Like we didn't have this.
Right.
So I'm happy that they are at this point to where they can enjoy, and they don't need for anything. They just need to focus on basketball and just doing what they need to do.
Mm.
And the NIL thing, I think is a great thing. I hope it continues to grow here, and I hope they continue to, make these guys. It helps them to grow up a lot faster, keeps them mature. And as far as the NIL and all that, man, it changes almost every day. Like it's something new every day. So you can't say, oh yeah, this is gonna be it. This is like it's something new every day. So almost every week we have meetings on it. Like, oh well, this news just came in. This just happened. So we just got to try to keep updating our guys and keep them informed on what to do and what not to do.
Quick follow-up, sticking here. So when you left Auburn, kids still had the opportunity to go straight from the NBA, from the high school to the NBA. At some point, they instituted a rule that said you need to be 1 year removed from high school, right, before you can join the NBA. So now kids are coming to college for at least 1 year. Now, we've talked to Coach Bruce Pearl about this. In terms of recruiting, one and dones now it's tough, man. A kid comes in, if he's good, you have him for a year and then he's gone, and then you have to re-recruit the next Jabari Smith. Talk about how difficult that is for you guys, and the dance that you have to do between essentially letting a guy go to the NBA because it's in his best interest, but maybe wanting a guy to come back to develop for another year if he's in between.
Honestly, I think that if you got a chance this is my take on it. If you got a chance to go change your family's life, man, get out of here.
Okay.
School's always going to be here. You can come back and go to school and get your grades. But I mean, I think that a lot of people have different situations and different backgrounds. So you can't tell a kid, hey, you need to come back and stay if he has a chance to go and change his mother's life or change his little brother's life. Like, so it's hard. And like you say, we be in situations to where, man, we really could use him another year. But his mom may need this or his dad or whatever the situation may be. But I think it's good and bad, because we starting to get more guys one and done. That's a good thing. So it's like, hey man, Auburn is, like, hey man, we got players that can come in here 1 year and get out of here now, as opposed to it used to be you gotta stay 4 years, 3, however long it took. So it's a gift and a curse, man. It's a good thing. And it's kind of like when we lost a couple games when we were ranked 1, and like we lost, and a lot of people was like, man, we lost. But I'm standing on the court at the time, like, they just rushed the court for Auburn. Like, you know what I mean? Like, y'all know where we came from.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was like, to me, it was like, man, is this really happening? They rushing the floor because they beat us? Like, and I don't think the younger guys understand that, but I'm just happy to be a part of it and seeing it now. It's like, man, like, we kind of paved that way for him, and I'm just happy to even be a part of it. Like, Brian Smith is on staff now, and he talks about it all the time. They had a great team with him, and we talked about Chris Ford earlier. Those guys they were really good, that '99 team.
Yeah.
And now, like, we got teams that's like we trying to compare them. Like, would they have beat this team? Would they have beat that team? And we got a lot of great guys that have come out of here.
Talking about this because I'm very interested in this. One of the kids that you may have had a chance to be around that was kind of in that in between that I felt was Sharif Cooper.
Yeah.
Right. Like he started the year hurt, and he an obvious talent, like just a dynamic talent, but he played 1 year and then went. And even for this young man, I just felt like maybe another year would have done him some good. Like, does NIL provide enough of an opportunity for some of these athletes to make that family decision and the basketball decision simultaneously? So it's no longer, I got to go to the NBA because I got to take care of my family. Like, I may have a chance if I'm Sharif Cooper to stay here, make 6 figures, develop for another year, and still take care of my family.
Right. I can't really even put my finger on that one. Like, he made his decision. It could have went either way with Sharif. He's super talented, as you both stated. Like he's one of those guys. He's a magician with that ball, and it's just a matter of size with him.
Mm.
And I think that's the only thing that stopped him from going high in the draft. Is just a matter of size. It ain't the matter if he can play or not.
Right.
I mean, he had 11 points in 8 minutes last night.
I saw it.
It's like he can play the game. It's just all it takes is one team, man. It's just one team. Like I went undrafted.
Right.
But
which is crazy.
But that's just politics of the game, and you just got to be willing to, adapt to it. And he's a warrior. He's a fighter. He's not gonna give up. He's gonna eventually make somebody's team. I mean, you got another player like Jared Harper, like super talented. Just a matter of size, man. It's like these guys now. It's like, man, we got a 3-man for you. Like, yeah, he's about 6'10". Like that used to be just a center. Now that's a small forward. Now, like these guys is like. What's the kid last night that played Weemaway or whatever his name is from France? The 7'3" kid. Like, that's a creative player. Like, these kids are so much bigger now, man, the way they play the game is so involved so much that it goes back to these one-and-done kids. It's a great thing, man. I'm just glad they are. And I think they're probably going to go back to letting them go out of high school at some point. It's getting close to, I mean, I feel like that they're talented enough. Why not?
So I wonder, like, it's part of the development. So it seems like you're focused a lot more, like I said, on the mentorship end, but how much are you involved in like the basketball skill portion of like really trying to help guys with their game? And like, are you out there picking up clipboards? Like what are you doing as far as the on the court things for Auburn?
Again, I have my days. Some days if a coach is not here, then, I can get on the court a little bit more and help out. But they come to me and they ask me stuff. I'm like an open book. I try to be a cheat sheet for them. Like, look at doing this, look at doing that. At college, a lot of guys, they just run fast. They don't know how to, use a pace, play with different speeds. It's like, if you run fast and I run fast, that's the easiest thing to guard. Like, just play with a pace. And I try to give them little pointers here and there when they come out of the game, talk to them about things that I see that could possibly help them. It's all about, like, basketball is really 10% mental. Like you have to be mentally sharp, and 90% mental. You have to be mentally sharp and try to play 2 or 3 plays ahead of the next person. It's a thinking's man game, and a lot of these kids, it's shocking. Not our players, but a lot of players don't really watch basketball. Like they just go out there and play. Like nobody.
That's actually not shocking. We talk to a lot of athletes about just like film habits, and a lot of them will admit until they got into the league and were there a couple of years, they never really watched film. They never like studied what was going on the game. They just they play. I'm athletic. I'm better than most people around me. I'm gonna go hoop. I'm gonna go play. And it, like you said, it becomes a thing where you have to actually study a little bit and understand tendencies and what your own tendencies are and things I can do to improve and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
Exactly. So it's just, just guys, they just feel like, oh, man, it's part of going back to the AAUs and all that stuff. A lot of times, they just get the best players and just put them out there. You got some good coaches out there that actually help them, but for the most part, it's just like, you the best player, you go do this, you go do that. It's like, and when they get to college, it's like you trying to break it down and help them and teach them how to play the game. Like they're skilled, they're super skilled. It's almost like, I'm sure y'all probably say it right now, like, man, these kids ain't tough. Like, but what have they been through?
Right.
Back in the day when we were playing, it was most of the kids that was coming out of the urban areas. They were the tough kids, and they were the ones that was making it. Now it's the suburban kids because their parents can afford trainers to help them to get better. So they hadn't been through anything tough.
Right.
It's like the toughest thing, what your phone got taken. Like they hadn't been through much. So it's like you can't tell him to be tough when he ain't been through nothing.
Yeah. So, so what is it like trying to instill that mindset? Like we talk to a lot of football players and, we haven't had the opportunity to talk to many of the basketball players, but the thing that you hear often athletes say is dog mentality. Like, how do you, and most people say you're just born, you either have it or you don't, but like, how do you get a team to be more gritty, more tough, develop that dog?
It has to start from within the players. Like they have to demand it from themselves. Like a coach can yell, he can scream, he can do all that, but if the team don't demand it from each other, it's just like y'all push each other. when y'all working, y'all pushing each other. So it's like, man, you slipping today. Like you need to pick it up.
Yeah.
And you just got to keep policing each other. And I think our guys do a good job of that. Like, KD is probably one of the best. People look at KD and probably like, man, I couldn't play with him, but he's the ultimate
No, I would
teammate.
love to play with
But
KD, bro.
he's the ultimate teammate. Like a lot of people like, oh, he on his court, he doing this. Not, man, he's probably the best hype man for each player on our team.
Yes.
Oh, here you go, there you go. Like he's hyping you up every time, and it's like, but people that don't know that, they're like, man, he's just a bad team. No, this dude is like, you would want to play with him.
Yeah.
Because he's empowering you almost every time you get the ball.
Yeah.
And so it's just, you got to have teammates like that that's going to push you and want you to do good for themselves as well as others.
Marquis, let me ask you, tell us about what it's like playing for, coaching or working for Coach Bruce Pearl. He's a high energy guy. I had the opportunity to listen to him give a speech at a charity foundation event here, a fundraiser here in DC. I'm convinced that guy can motivate salts and slugs to get along with each other. Like what's it like working for Coach Bruce Pearl? And how have you grown as a coach working under him on this staff?
I've learned a lot of things actually. The give and take. He gives his players a lot of freedom. So when he demands it, it's like, hey, I let you do this, I let you do that. So now I demand you. So that side, and man, like you say, man, he got the gift of gab. I always say, man, talk a cat off a fish truck. He just coach has it. He has it. He motivates you. He make you want to feel like you the best team in the world. Feel like you can do whatever. He empowers you, and he works so hard. He pushes us coaches on a daily basis, and he leans on us like, what do you think? He wants information from us. He empowers us to empower him, and I think that's the best thing. Like we all push each other to be better. Just watching the way he coaches and the way he, like, what you see on the sideline is every day.
Right.
Like that's not just him coaching. That's in practice. That's just, and off the court, he's like probably one of the best people. Like say my kids have a game, he knows about it. Like how your daughter do today, how your son do today. It's like stuff like that. So it may seem small, but it's big to coaching. And it's like, man, you actually keeping up with. He knows everyone's name. He speaks to everyone. He's nice to everybody, trying to help everybody just be better. And I think that's one of the best things that if I had a son that my son loves baseball. If he wanted to play basketball, I would want him to come play for Coach Pearl. So I know how he's going to empower him and push him to be the best he can be.
All right, so I want to transition a little bit and talk about this year's team. So we talked about KD being a dog out there. Like, what is it? What do you feel? What do you get a general feel? Like you guys went and you played some games over in Israel. Let's start with Israel, the Israel experience and kind of how that was for you all. But what is your general sense about the team early on in their development as gelling into a team?
The trip to Israel, man, was very surreal. It was almost like a children's book with pictures. From like reading the Bible, now it's like, oh, so this way this happened. This, right. So now you're able to put the pictures and some visual to it. And it's like, man, just seeing the buildings and everything, the way it's built. Like we were sitting down one time, I was like, man, this looked like a Disney movie. Just how it's like, yo, the angel came down right here. This way Isaac is. It's like, what? So now you're actually starting to put it together. It's like, man, so it's like it really happened. It's right. Like the Bible. If you don't really know the Bible, you hear the stories and it's like, all right. But now you got the visuals to it. And it's like, okay, you're just seeing everybody how they live, and it's just like, the appreciation they have for Americans coming over there and bringing the game of basketball, and us being over there and just showing the younger kids, different drills, the way we play the game. I thought it was very good that Coach Pearl was able to get the team to go over there, and we was able to go over there and show some good things. And as far as this year's team, I think we have a good chance. It's going to be a different team. It's going to be kind of like that year Samir Dowdy's them team when it was very defensive. We're going to score in different ways. You lose a lot, of course, with Jabari and Walker. But I think we're going to have a lot of good guys that step up and take some big roles this year for us.
Marquis, the weight of expectation has risen for Auburn basketball. We've said it ad nauseum, right? Back when you were in school, you were part of a Sweet 16 team that came up 2 points short of beating the eventual national champions in Syracuse, led by Carmelo Anthony. Now, you guys, the SEC has evolved when it comes to basketball, and it's a tough conference to play in. Tennessee, Arkansas, Texas A&M, Auburn, Alabama. This is a different kind of basketball conference now. How are you guys handling being the hunters and not the hunted right now, going on the hunt and just being, hey, like, listen, we're the big dogs on the block now. You want to get to the SEC championship, you got to go through Auburn, Alabama. What's that like?
Man, we respect everybody, but we don't fear nobody.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go out there. We're gonna respect our opponents. It's like the good saying goes. To beat somebody, you got to bring it. You got to bring it. Whether we want to beat them or they got to beat us, somebody got to bring the fight. And we're gonna come every game. We're gonna play Auburn basketball. We're gonna respect our opponents, but at the end of the day, you're gonna know who we are too. So we're gonna go out there and we're just gonna play Auburn basketball. We're gonna play hard. We're gonna compete, and we're just gonna go out there and get after it. As far as being a target, we don't look at, we won the SEC championship last year. That was last year. It's a new year. We're looking to try to continue to keep growing, keep making this program better, keep making history.
When you were in school, was there any matchup? Like, what team did you hate, and has that carried over to you as a coach? Like it was like every year we play Tennessee.
You gotta
I
ask that.
yes, I can't stand it. And now when you play Tennessee, you're like, guys, we're gonna crush these dudes because when I was in school, I owed them one.
You know what, man? To be honest with you, I didn't realize how bad it was until once I got out. Like that team down the street. I don't care for them.
But you know what's amazing though? The way that permeates towards the athletes, because I saw, Jabari Smith ain't from Alabama, right? Like, and so, but he took to it immediately.
It's crazy, man. Like when I was in school, I'm like, man, I ain't thinking about that. You hear him talk about it, but like when I was here, I was like, you know what? I don't like them either. So it was
right.
like, I don't know what it is. It's just like, I don't care if we playing them in kickball, man. I don't like them. Like, I just don't like them. And they ain't did nothing to me.
Right.
I just don't like them.
Right. I'm sorry. I'll say it. I feel very strongly that level of petty is necessary to be a competitor in the SEC, right? Like,
definitely.
I respect you on the court, but you're nobody to me, and we're gonna crush you.
100%, especially them.
Yeah.
Especially them. It's always a good week if they lose. Like, especially them.
I like how you haven't even said the name of the school
this
whole time. I haven't even said it.
Nah.
All right, cool. So still bad blood there, and both teams are fairly good at basketball these days as well too.
Yeah.
So you guys are both getting one and done athletes. I think our last one and done was better than theirs.
Yeah, we plan on keeping it that way. We want to keep it that way.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Do you know anybody on that staff? Is there anybody that you play with? Do you know those guys a little?
Yeah, we played against each other. Petway, we played against each other. He was there. He's still over there. He's a good friend still.
All right, so let's talk about. I don't know if you have any plans. Is there something in the future for you? Is like, do you want to coach more in the future? Like, where do you see yourself going? Or you're good right here. Player development at Auburn. Like, what's it looking like for you?
Right now I have a daughter. She's in 11th grade. My son is in the 9th grade. And,
that's wild.
I know, right? Yeah. And so she's actually being recruited by Auburn, which is even wilder.
Which sport?
But basketball.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, she's pretty good. She's one of the top players here in the state. But I think once they're done, then I kind of figure out a little bit more. I have some opportunities to do this and do that. But being here at Auburn, man, it's just like going back to being an Auburn person, just an Auburn man. It's like it's just I don't know what it is. It's just something about it. Like when I got him, I could go back to when I got in my car accident, how the community just came around, just supported me and my family to. It's just, I don't know, man. It's hard to leave Auburn. When you come to Auburn, like even the players that we have that's one and done, it's like we almost have to force them to leave. Like they want to stay. It's just something about, just being part of Auburn, just the way everybody treats you on and off the court. I don't know if you've been in the jungle lately when it gets rocking and man, it's crazy. It's probably one of the best college atmospheres out there right now. And it's hard to get away from it, man. It's very surreal.
I just want to. What's up with Q6, man? What's up with Q6, man?
Person, the rapper, which one?
The rapper, man. What's like? What was that like for you, man?
Man, you know what? I always like used to rap a lot. Like when I was young, even in high school, like
Yeah.
beating on tables in the lunchroom, rapping, freestyling. And it was crazy when somebody actually hit me on Twitter one day and was like, "I remember you telling me when you make it, you're gonna start rapping." And like to be honest with you, man, I could have like had some deals with rapping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I mean,
when
you
I
had a little
was
buzz. That's what I'm
playing,
saying.
yeah, when I was playing, but it was just like, you know what, man, I got kids, I got a wife and family. Like, let me, because I know it's dangerous being a rapper,
Yeah.
but it
Actually.
was fun. It was something that went from a hobby turned into something that I can actually like. I was actually having paid shows to
Yeah.
go rap, and it was. I think it's a big rush to like get on stage and people actually know your words and like
Right.
that was crazy. It was crazy. Like having songs with, from Gucci Man, Boosie, like that song like Fruits, like it's just crazy, man. It's just going to studios and people like, hey, what's up, QC? Let's hop on this album. Like it's different, man. It's just
Yeah.
it was fun. It was very fun.
That's what's up, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Who is Nikki? Why? Well, I don't understand.
Come here, Nikki.
Yeah.
You know what, man? That's just some lingo, just some talk. At the time, I think when I put that song out, Nicki Minaj was probably one of the hottest artists out. Of course, she was bad, so it was like every girl was like, "Come here, Nikki."
Got you.
You
Got
know, it's like you like, "Come here, Nick," and then you can hear in the background like, "Come here, baby." It's just something that me and my little crew used to always say, and just and then hang around a bunch of younger guys when you're in the studio, like it's like how they push you.
you. Hmm.
And you come like because you want to outdo them and they trying to outdo you. So it's like you got to stay creative. And I think that's something that I didn't realize that my daughter was rapping.
Mm.
And so she was like, so I'm hearing them. I'm like, yo, this what we doing? And she come down. She's like, yeah, I'm ready to go to the studio. I'm like, where you get this? I'll be watching you. I'm like, all right. So, but yeah, now it's just that creative edge, man. It's just being competitive and yeah, the whole Q6 thing, man. That's a long story.
I feel you.
I
I
feel
feel you.
that. I feel that.
Yeah.
Well, Marquise, we appreciate you joining us to tell us a little bit about your time at Auburn, your journey as a coach with Auburn basketball, working under Coach Bruce Pearl. And we thank you for the contribution that you're making to young men's lives today, sharing your experiences and helping them take the next step in their basketball lives. So thank you.
Thank y'all for having me on, man. I definitely appreciate it.
Well, guys, that's it for another great edition of Building Rapport with our guy, Marquis Daniels. Look, if you want more content like this, please hit like and subscribe. We are the War Rapport on every social media platform, but TW Rapport on TikTok. Fellas, we're signing off. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.